How could the person I trusted most in the world betray me in the most unforgivable way? That question has haunted me every single day since the moment I discovered what was really happening in my own home, right under my nose. Let me take you back to the beginning, because this story didn't start with betrayal. It started with love, friendship, and everything I thought was solid in my life. Lucas and I met 7 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue. I wasn't looking for anything serious at the time. I'd just gotten out of a terrible relationship and was focused on my career as a marketing consultant. But when Lucas walked into that backyard with his easy smile and genuine laugh, something shifted. We spent the entire evening talking, and by the time the party ended, I knew he was different. We got married after dating for 2 years. The wedding was small, intimate, just our closest friends and family at a vineyard upstate. Olivia was my maid of honor, of course. She'd been my best friend since our sophomore year of college when we were randomly assigned as roommates. We'd been through everything together. Bad breakups, family drama, career changes, you name it. She was the sister I never had. When our daughter Emma was born 3 years ago, Olivia was the first person I called after my parents. She showed up at the hospital with flowers, tears streaming down her face, so overwhelmed with joy for us. She became Aunt Liv to Emma, the fun aunt who brought surprise presents and made silly faces that sent Emma into fits of giggles. Life felt complete. I had a husband who loved me, a beautiful daughter, a best friend who felt like family, and a career I was proud of. Looking back now, I realize how naive I was to think that happiness could last without any cracks forming. The changes started about 6 months ago, so subtle at first that I convinced myself I was imagining things. Lucas started working later, or at least that's what he said. He'd come home distracted, giving me quick kisses before disappearing into his home office. Our conversations became shorter, more surface level. When I'd ask about his day, he'd give me generic answers that told me nothing. In bed, he'd turn away from me, claiming he was exhausted. We went from making love several times a week to maybe once every 2 weeks, and even then, it felt mechanical, like he was going through the motions. I'd catch him staring at his phone with his small smile, then quickly putting it away when he noticed me watching. I started questioning everything. Was I not attractive anymore? Had motherhood changed me in ways that made me less desirable? I'd stand in front of the mirror examining myself, looking for flaws, wondering what I'd done wrong. That's when I turned to Olivia. We met for coffee on a rainy Tuesday afternoon at our usual spot, a little cafe downtown that made the best lattes. I remember stirring my drink nervously, trying to find the right words. I think something's wrong with Lucas and me, I finally said, my voice cracking slightly. He's distant. We barely talk anymore. I don't know what to do. Olivia reached across the table and grabbed my hand, her eyes full of concern. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Marriage is hard, especially with a little one. Have you tried talking to him about it? I've tried, but he just says everything's fine and that he's stressed about work. But it feels like more than that, you know? She squeezed my hand tighter. Listen, you two are gonna be okay. You love each other. Sometimes relationships just hit rough patches. What you need is to reconnect. When's the last time you two had a real date night? I thought about it and realized it had been months. Between Emma, work, and life in general, we'd stopped making time for just us. Exactly, Olivia said, reading my expression. Let me help. I'll babysit Emma whenever you need. You and Lucas need to remember why you fell in love in the first place. I felt tears welling up. Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you. That's what best friends are for, she said with a warm smile that I trusted completely. And true to her word, Olivia jumped into action. That very weekend, she showed up at our house with a bottle of wine and insisted on watching Emma so Lucas and I could go out. She practically pushed us out the door, telling us not to come back for at least 3 hours. Lucas and I went to our favorite Italian restaurant, the one where he'd proposed. We talked more that night than we had in weeks, and for a moment, I felt hopeful. Maybe Olivia was right. Maybe we just needed to reconnect. Over the next few weeks, Olivia became a constant presence in our lives. She'd stop by with dinner, saying she'd made too much and didn't want it to go to waste. She'd offer to watch Emma at a moment's notice. She even planned a surprise romantic evening for us, complete with candles, rose petals, and a playlist of our favorite songs. I remember hugging her that night, tears in my eyes. You're literally saving my marriage. I don't know how to thank you. Just be happy, she said, hugging me back. That's all I want. At first, things did seem better. Lucas appeared more engaged, more present. But then I started noticing other things that made my stomach twist with an anxiety I couldn't quite name. Like the way Lucas's entire face would change when Olivia walked into a room. His eyes would brighten, his posture would straighten, and he'd get this energy about him that I hadn't seen directed at me in months. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was grateful they got along so well. Then there were the inside jokes. jokes. I'd walk into the kitchen and catch the tail end of their laughter, some reference I didn't understand. When I'd ask what was so funny, they'd exchange a quick glance before Lucas would say something like, "Oh, just something from that show Liv was telling me about." But I didn't remember them watching shows together. When did that happen? Olivia started dressing differently when she came over. Instead of her usual jeans and casual tops, she'd wear fitted dresses, her hair styled perfectly, makeup done just so. She'd laugh louder at Lucas's jokes, touch his arm when they talked, lean in close when he showed her something on his phone. I kept pushing these observations down, burying them under layers of denial. This was Olivia, my best friend, the woman who'd held my hair back when I had food poisoning in college, who'd helped me pick out my wedding dress, who'd been in the delivery room when Emma was born. She would never betray me, but the universe has a way of forcing us to see truths we're desperate to avoid. It was a Thursday afternoon when everything started to unravel. Lucas had left his phone on the kitchen counter while he was in the shower. It buzzed with a text, and I glanced at it without thinking. The preview on the screen made my blood run cold. Olivia's name and a photo. Even from the preview, I could see it was her in a bikini, a red two-piece that left little to the imagination. The message read, "What do you think? Too much for the beach." My hand started shaking. I picked up the phone, my heart pounding so hard I could hear in my ears. I opened the message thread, and my worst fears materialized before my eyes. There were other messages. Nothing explicitly sexual, but the tone, the familiarity, the flirtation was unmistakable. Casual conversations about their days. Her asking his opinion on outfits. Him complimenting her. Inside jokes that now made sickening sense. When Lucas came out of the shower, towel around his waist, I was sitting on the bed holding his phone. The color drained from his face. "Why is Olivia sending you bikini photos?" My voice was surprisingly calm, but inside I was screaming. He immediately went into defense mode. "It's not what it looks like. She's going on vacation and just wanted a guy's opinion. That's all." I swear, a guy's opinion? She has a brother. She has male co-workers. Why would she ask my husband? Because we're friends. You're the one who's been having her over constantly. We've gotten closer, sure, but it's completely innocent. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly. But something in my gut told me there was more to this story. "Show me the rest of your messages with her." "There's nothing to show." "That's it. Look, I'll tell her it was inappropriate and to not send stuff like that anymore, okay?" But he wouldn't hand me the phone. He kept it clutched in his hand, and that told me everything I needed to know. We fought for hours that night. He maintained his innocence, swore up and down that nothing physical had happened, that they were just friends. I wanted to call Olivia right then and there, but Lucas begged me not to, said it would make things weird, that I was overreacting. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed next to my husband, this man I'd built a life with, and felt like I was sleeping next to a stranger. The next few days were torture. I catch Lucas texting and wonder if it was her. Every time he smiled at his phone, jealousy and rage would course through me. I started questioning my sanity. Was I being paranoid? Was this all innocent and I was destroying my marriage over nothing? But then I'd remember that photo, the way they looked at each other, the inside jokes, and I knew I wasn't crazy. I needed proof. Real, undeniable proof. So I came up with a plan. The following Tuesday, I told Olivia I had to work late on a big presentation. I made a point of complaining about it, saying I'd probably be at the office until at least 8 or 9. She immediately offered to bring dinner to Lucas and Emma, said she didn't want them eating takeout all night. My heart sank when she offered, but I forced a smile. "You're the best. I don't know what I'd do without you." That afternoon, I told Lucas the same story. He seemed relieved, actually, which made my stomach turn. I left the house at my normal time, drove to the office, but then circled back. I parked 3 houses down, far enough that they wouldn't see my car, but close enough that I had a clear view of our front door. I sat there for 30 minutes, my hands gripping the steering wheel, part of me hoping I was wrong, that Olivia wouldn't show up, that this was all a terrible misunderstanding. Then her car pulled into our driveway. She got out, and I noticed immediately that she wasn't carrying any food. No takeout bags, no groceries, nothing. She was wearing a short sundress, her hair down and flowing, more makeup than necessary for a casual dinner with friends. She walked up to our front door and didn't even knock, just walked right in like she owned the place. I waited 5 minutes, 10, 15. My mind was racing with possibilities, each one worse than the last. What were they doing in there? Where was Emma? After 20 minutes, I couldn't take it anymore. I got out of my car and walked to my own house, my hands trembling as I put my key in the lock. The house was quiet, too quiet. I could hear the TV playing in Emma's room upstairs, some cartoon she loved. At least she was occupied and away from whatever was happening down here. I walked through the foyer into the living room, and there they were. Olivia and Lucas on our couch, not kissing, not in some compromising position, but close. Too close. Her body was angled toward him, her hand resting on his knee, their faces inches apart. They were talking in low voices, intimate voices, the kind of voices you use when you're sharing secrets. They didn't hear me at first. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only a few seconds, watching my husband and my best friend in what was clearly a moment that wasn't meant for anyone else to see. Then Lucas looked up and saw me. His face went white. Olivia turned, and the expression that crossed her face was something I'll never forget. Shock, yes, but also something else. Guilt, and maybe, just maybe, a flash of satisfaction, like part of her wanted to get caught. What the hell is going on? My voice came out stronger than I felt. Olivia jumped up from the couch, smoothing down her dress. Oh my God, you scared me. I thought you were working late. Clearly, I said, my eyes moving between the two of them. Funny, I don't see any dinner. Wasn't that why you were coming over? To bring food. She had the audacity to look confused. Oh, I forgot at home. I was just going to order pizza. I came over early to check on Lucas because you mentioned he seemed down lately. The lie was so smooth, so practiced, that I almost doubted what I'd seen with my own eyes. But I'd seen it. The intimacy, the closeness, the way they'd been looking at each other. Lucas stood up too, running his hand through his hair. Babe, listen. Don't. I cut him off. My eyes locked on Olivia. Get out of my house. Excuse me. She had the nerve to look offended. You heard me. Get out. You're being ridiculous, she said, but I could see panic starting to creep in her eyes. I'm her best friend. I've been trying to help you save your marriage. And this is how you thank me. Something inside me snapped. Help me save my marriage? Is that what you call sending my husband bikini photos? Having secret conversations? Showing up at my house dressed like that when you think I'm not here? I don't know what you think you saw, but I saw enough. I've seen enough for weeks now. The way you look at him. The way he looks at you. Did you think I was blind? Or just stupid? Tears were streaming down my face now, but I didn't care. All the pain, all the betrayal, all the gaslighting was pouring out of me. Lucas tried to step toward me. Nothing happened. I swear to God, nothing physical happened. But you wanted it to, I said, looking at him. Didn't you? That's why you've been pulling away from me. Because you've been falling for her. The silence that followed was deafening. He didn't deny it. He couldn't even look me in the eye. Olivia grabbed her purse. You know what? I'm leaving, but you're making a huge mistake. I was trying to help you. I've always been there for you. You were trying to steal my husband, I said quietly. There's a difference. She opened her mouth to respond, then thought better of it. She walked past me, and as she did, she leaned in close and whispered, he came to me. Remember that. Then she was gone, and I was left standing in my living room with my husband, my marriage in pieces around us. The weeks that followed were the hardest of my life. Lucas begged for forgiveness. He swore that nothing physical had happened, that they'd never even kissed. According to him, they'd just gotten close, started confiding in each other, and he developed feelings he didn't know how to handle. He claimed Olivia had been the one pursuing him, making advances, but that he'd never acted on it. I didn't know what to believe. Part of me wanted to forgive him, to save our family, to go back to the life we had before. But the trust was gone, shattered. Every time I looked at him, I saw him on that couch with her. Every time he picked up his phone, I wondered if he was texting her. Every time he said he was working late, I questioned if it was true. I blocked Olivia on everything. Phone, social media, email. I told her mutual friends what happened, and most of them sided with me, cutting her off too. A few tried to stay neutral, and I cut them off as well. I didn't have the energy for people who couldn't see the betrayal for what it was. Lucas and I tried counseling. We went to therapy twice a week, sitting in uncomfortable chairs, talking about trust and boundaries, and how to rebuild what was broken. Some days I thought we might make it. Other days, I couldn't stand to be in the same room with him. The therapist asked me what I needed to move forward. I told her I needed honesty. Complete, total honesty about everything that had happened. So in one session, I asked Lucas to tell me the whole truth. Every conversation, every text, every moment with Olivia. What he told me was worse than I'd imagined. They'd been talking for months, long before I'd even noticed anything was wrong. It started innocently enough, her asking him for advice about a guy she was dating. Then the conversations got more personal. She'd tell him about her problems, and he'd share his frustrations about our marriage, things he'd never told me. She'd told him she'd always found him attractive, even before we got married, that she used to be jealous of me for having him. She'd send him messages late at night, saying she couldn't sleep, asking if he was awake. They'd talk for hours while I slept next to him, completely unaware. The bikini photo wasn't the first. There had been others. Her in different outfits, asking his opinion. Him complimenting her, telling her she looked beautiful. They'd made plans to meet for coffee, just the two of them, but he'd canceled at the last minute because he felt guilty. He swore they never crossed the physical line, and I believed him, but emotionally, he'd been having an emotional affair with my best friend, and in some ways, that felt worse than if they just slept together and gotten it over with. I asked him if he loved her. He was quiet for a long time before answering. I don't know, he finally said. I had feelings for her. I was confused, but I love you. I love our family. I made a terrible mistake, and I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you if you'll let me. I still don't know if I will. We're still in therapy. We're still trying. Some days are better than others. Emma asks about Aunt Liv sometimes, and I have to change the subject because I don't know how to explain to a 3-year-old that the aunt she loved betrayed her mother in the worst way possible. I heard through mutual friends that Olivia moved to another state. Good. I hope I never see her again. The thought of running into her at the grocery store or a restaurant makes me physically ill. People ask me why I'm still with Lucas, why I didn't just leave. The truth is, I don't have a good answer. Maybe it's because we have a child together. Maybe it's because I still remember the man I fell in love with and hope I can find him again. Maybe it's because starting over feels impossible. Or maybe it's because I'm not ready to let her win. If I leave, if I give up on my marriage, then she gets what she wanted all along. And I'm not ready to give her that satisfaction. But the betrayal, it's changed me. I don't trust as easily anymore. I question people's motives. I keep my circle small and my guard up. The woman who believed in the goodness of people, who opened her home and her heart without hesitation, she's gone. Some days I'm angry, furious at both of them for what they did, for what they took from me. Other days I'm just sad, mourning the friendship I thought I had, the marriage I thought was solid, the life I thought was mine. And late at night, when Lucas is asleep beside me and the house is quiet, I sometimes wonder if I'll ever feel safe again, if I'll ever look at him without seeing her, if I'll ever trust another friend completely. The answer, I'm learning, is probably no, and that might be the saddest part of all. They didn't just betray me. They changed me fundamentally, made me harder, more cynical, less open to love and friendship. But I'm still here, still fighting for my family, even when I don't know if it's worth fighting for. Still trying to forgive, even when forgiveness feels impossible. Still hoping that somehow, someday, I'll be able to look back on this and see it as something we survived rather than something that destroyed us. That's where I am now, in the middle of the mess, trying to find my way through. And I honestly don't know how this story ends. Maybe we make it, maybe we don't. Maybe I wake up one day and realize I deserve better than a husband who emotionally cheated with my best friend. Or maybe I wake up and realize that people make mistakes, and love means fighting for each other even when it's hard. I just know that the person I trusted most in the world betrayed me in the most unforgivable way, and I'm still trying to figure out how to live with that truth. If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe for more real life stories.